D.
Right.
And you can get it through fish, but you won't get enough. So you really need to supplement with it, especially in the Scandinavian countries.
Scott, just enlighten us a little bit in regards to natural versus the other kind of supplements here, or vitamins. Where is this clearly marked on most vitamins, or what do we need to look for so we know that we get the right kind?
Yes, it is marked. For vitamin D, it'll say one of three things. It'll say natural, or it'll say a combination of them. Natural, it'll say vitamin D3, or it will say cholecalciferol. And depending upon the language, either CHOL it is the starting letters, or KOL, it'll say cholecalciferol.
Mm.
Now, the synthetic form of vitamin D is vitamin D2, ergocalciferol. It won't ever say synthetic. It'll just say ergocalciferol or vitamin D2, and that's what they usually put in milk to fortify it. But that's a very poor form, and usually the fortification isn't a danger for vitamin D, at least, because it's so low potency anyway. You'll never reach the maximum with milk unless you're a milkaholic. So, and even then, I doubt it.
Yeah.
But in any event, it would be good, and it's so cheap too. The vitamin D that I buy in the States and bring back to Europe, I take 5,000 a day. It costs me about the equivalent of €2 a month.
That's
€2.
Nothing. Yeah.
I looked at it's nothing. I looked at the prices in Helsinki though, and maybe the prices are better in Sweden. I looked at the prices in Helsinki just a few days ago, and it would cost 11 times more in Helsinki to take the same amount of vitamin D, because that's the cost of protection, 11 times more. So to get that amount, and it's amazing, and that is your government, our government, working for us to protect us from low prices. And the funny thing is, the quality in the U.S. with the lower prices actually, I think, better. It comes from really reputable companies with really good quality manufacturing techniques.
Yeah.
And Biotech, Now Brand, and Carlson.
Scott, overall, if we talk about some of the other vitamins, let's see, or some of the minerals as well, do you think that they will be labeled with the natural as well when it comes to those vitamin sources?
Well, no, they won't be. The minerals in particular will, most cases, won't be labeled natural. You just have to know from the form. Most, like magnesium, is magnesium carbonate or magnesium oxide, which is very poorly absorbed, very poor absorption rate. You want to try to get magnesium citrate, which is a more biologically active form, and or magnesium glycinate or magnesium orotate, which is actually illegal in Europe because of the EU Food Supplements Directive. And magnesium malate is a good form. Men especially, men and women should take magnesium because it's not often that frequent in your diet unless you eat maybe red meats and stuff like that, or meat. But for vegetarians especially, it'd be important. Selenium's another one that's deficient in most European diets. But if you eat a Brazil nut a day, you'll probably get about 200 micrograms, which is pretty much what you need.
Really?
And then
Brazil nut, huh?
A Brazil nut is very rich, probably the richest natural source of selenium. And selenium is important because it helps protect you from viruses like the flu.
Yeah.
It helps protect you from catching AIDS, at least the HIV virus. It helps protect you from cancer. It has very strong anti-cancer properties. So you want to definitely include selenium in your diet. And they found there's a study that was done with men who were on 200 micrograms of selenium a day and those men who were not. They found the AIDS infection rate for men on selenium was 1/2 that of the control group, the ones who weren't taking it. Just to give just a little little bit of extra information there and reason to take it.
Excellent.
And magnesium, you know, these runners who run, they're like 50 years old, but otherwise in good shape, or maybe they're even 40, and they don't have any history of heart disease, and they're jogging, and then they suddenly stop and drop dead. Well, a lot of times that's due to magnesium deficiency. They've sweated out the magnesium in their system. Magnesium is important for the electrical impulses that fire your heart muscles, and if you're deficient in magnesium, then you have problems. Besides, magnesium's the traffic cop that tells calcium where to go in your body.
That's
you
right.
Want to go in your bones, not your and teeth, not your soft tissue, where it can cause blockages in the arteries. So there's all sorts of reasons to take supplements, and one can eat a good, healthy diet. But you know, today with the onslaught of toxins and with the vitamin and mineral content of foods being reduced by about 50%, that's been proven by Canadian and American studies. Unless you're eating organically, if you eat organically, the nutrient levels of the food have held pretty steadily. But our grandparents eating the same food out of a supermarket or out of a farm, they got 50% more nutrition than we did.
See, that's a very important point. Very important point.
And the third factor is we lead more stressful lives than our grandparents did for the most part.
Right,
you know, we're running here and there, answering the cell phone, jumping on the bus or the train in time, or getting in the car to be somewhere and taking another call and meetings after meetings and travel. So,
we burn
more.
There's
a third reason. Yeah, there's a third reason. And we burn more. We need more. So that's the other reason to actually supplement your diet.
Yeah. So Scott, I wanted to ask you a little bit about as well about the pharmaceutical companies and how do you think they benefit from this situation that seems to be developing when it comes to the Codex Alimentarius? Because if they take out vitamins and so forth in our diets, and the recommended intake per day and such are lowered, is it simply that they want to sell us their pharmaceutical options to the vitamins, or is it that the pharmaceutical companies themselves want to go into the vitamin business and take over that and sell us the vitamins but more expensively, or what are we looking at here?
Well, we're kind of looking at a combination of both. They see how lucrative the alternative health market is, and they want a piece of it. And they've already been doing that. They've been buying up vitamin companies in the U.S., the bigger ones, so that the trade organization for the health food industry is actually a bit infiltrated by the pharmaceutical industry these days. The Council for Responsible Nutrition has, Coca-Cola on the board, not that they're a pharmaceutical company, but just big business in general, plus the pharmaceutical companies like, I think it was Pfizer that bought Capsugel, and Capsugel is a member of Council on Responsible Nutrition, which acts on behalf of all these vitamin mineral manufacturers, supplement manufacturers, and the like. So the gist of it is they're trying to get a piece of the pie, but at the same time, they don't want to lose their bigger profit margins that they get from selling drugs, because those are the ones with patents, and not everyone can go in and start a company selling that patented item. So, in fact, no one can except for them, because that's the whole basis for the patent. And so they're trying to get it both ways, but basically what they do is they do the time-honored tradition of running to the government when they're getting beat in the marketplace, and people are waking up and realizing the drugs aren't good for you. You don't suffer from a drug deficiency, you suffer from a nutrient deficiency, whether it's depression or whether it's a disease or whether it's, like swine flu or virus or whatnot. You can protect yourself naturally far more effectively, far more cheaply, and with fewer side effects than using a drug. But they want to believe that you need to be vaccinated, that you need a drug, and that's the only cure for it. But they run to the government to get laws passed to restrict natural alternative treatments. And that's what they've been doing for a long time now. And if they can't get the natural law passed outlawing something, then they do the next best thing. What would that be? That would be to heap all sorts of burdens and obstacles on the other guy, the competition, so that it makes it more expensive for them to do business. And that's what they've been doing in the U.S. and elsewhere for years. That's actually a bit about what Codex is all about.